Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 3.53. Now in this particular Yoga Sutra, Muni Patanjali is helping us to understand how we differentiate between two particular objects and why it's so difficult to differentiate between Purusha and Prakriti, which always seem to us to belong to the same, classification as if they've merged with one another. So let's take a good look at this sutra, start breaking it up word by word and understanding what exactly is that dimension that we would need to understand to be able to differentiate between Purusha and Prakriti. So let's dive right into the sutra. So the sutra itself goes, Jati Lakshana Desha Yairanyatana Vachedat Tulya Yos Tataf Pratipattihi. Alright, so this is the sutra itself. Now let's start breaking it up word by word to understand it a little bit better. So the first word in this case is jati. Now jati refers to the birth or the species of a particular thing. Then coming to the next word, which is lakshan. And lakshan refers to characteristics, secondary characteristics or certain symptoms. Then coming to the next word, we have desha, and this particular word usually refers to the place or an area. Sometimes it's also translated as the country, but here we're not talking about the country as such, we're talking about a particular place. Then the next word here is anyata. Now anyata means the differentiation or the differentness. So the differentiation or the differentness between certain objects comes from the previous three words of jati, lakshan and desh. Then we come to the next segment of the sutra, which is talking about anavacheda. Now this over here is referring to non-separation or non-distinction. Then the word after that is tulya. And tulya means pretty much the same or similar. Very often tulya is the Libra star sign, which is indicated by the weighing scale which is in balance. So tulya means similar, equal. It demonstrates that equality. And then coming to the next word, we have tataha, which means from that. And the final word is pratipatti, which refers to a certain type of knowledge or cognition or understanding. So these are the words and all their individual meanings. But now let's start understanding what is the sutra trying to say and what does it mean. So the sutra is saying that in most cases, we're able to differentiate between two objects through either their species or the kind of object that it is, or through its secondary characteristics and certain potentialities, or through the place in which that thing is located. So using these three, we're usually able to differentiate. But however, within us in the Purusha and Prakriti realm, or the Purusha and the Sattva Chitta complex, which is basically part of the Prakritic realm, we are not able to differentiate those two using these three normal methods of separation. And so what is needed is we need to have a certain type of cognition to understand the difference between Purusha and the Prakriti, which comes to us from the previous sutra, right? So it's saying from the previous sutra, with the understanding of the dimension of time, we are now able to differentiate between Purusha and Prakriti using this new dimension of time, whereas normally for normal human beings, we only use the jati, the lakshan or the desh. So this is what the sutra is indicating, and now we're going to go much deeper into it to understand what exactly is it talking about and how can a yoga sadhak make use of this practice. So essentially what this sutra is trying to tell us is that in most cases we all use the very basic differentiation mechanism, right? Which is to understand a particular species. So if you're looking at a cat and you're looking at a dog, it's very obvious that these are two different things, living beings, because they belong to a different species. So it's very obvious their birth, their species itself is different. And when you talk about non-living things, the thing itself would be different, like a laptop versus a book. Completely different objects belonging to different fields altogether, right? So this is the first one, which is jati, which is the type or the quality of the object itself. Then the second way to differentiate between something is to look at its secondary characteristics. So let's say, for example, we have two cats. Alright, so now they belong to the same species, they're two cats, but their skin color could be different, their size could be different, the way they meow or the way they make sound could be different. Basically, they could have a lot of differentiation in their traits and characteristics. Same goes for human beings, right? We're all the same species, but we look different. We have different traits, different personalities. You can differentiate between us even though we belong to the same species. Also using gender and age and other parameters to understand and differentiate certain things. And if you look at non-living objects as well, even if you have, let's say, the MacBook Pro or two laptops of the same model, they can have a different color, they can have different storage space, they can have a different overall look and feel to them. So whether it be living or non-living, it can be differentiated using these secondary characteristics. And then of course comes the third differentiating factor, which is a desha or the place. So a very interesting example has been given in our source book, which explains that if you look at a book, right? You've kept a book on a table and that book is being kept there, it's there, but somebody comes, takes away that book and replaces it with the exact same book and then goes away. And you come back and look at it, you wouldn't even know there was a change. You'll think, oh, this book is the same book, it's on the table, kept the same way, looks the same, is the same book. So you don't know that something has taken place there, something has happened in your absence, because the object itself looks the same. So there is no difference to the naked eye, to the senses, we're not able to perceive it. But if we were able to perceive time, and we were able to get a third, bird's eye view of the timeline of events of a particular object, then we would be able to see that, aha, here's where the object has been, here's how it landed up here, here's where the object is going, right? So literally like our Facebook timelines, literally like our Instagram home pages, we just scroll and we see the entire thing. It used to be chronological order, hope that comes back on Instagram, but essentially you were able to do it in chronological order. So that's very similar to what is being explained in this sutra, which is saying that the Yog Sadhak who develops an understanding of time, which is what we studied in 3.52, how to gain that understanding of time and how all the kshanas make up a huge unit of time. So once a Yog Sadhak has that understanding of what are the constituents of a timeline, the Yog Sadhak gains mastery over time itself and understands moments and instants really, really well. So then if he or she wants to focus on a particular object and understand its timeline, where it's been, where it is, where it's going, he or she can actually do a certain amount of meditation, a certain type of practice to completely understand that. And it's literally like watching a movie. The whole timeline will reveal itself. You'll visually be able to see it. And you can actually then say, oh no, this book is not the same book as mine because it was replaced by somebody and kept here. So that only became possible because you saw it happen in the timeline of events of that book itself. So what is happening is due to the power achieved in the previous sutra of understanding time, the Yog Sadhak is now able to look at the timeline of certain things and understand how they were sequenced, how they ended up coming into where they are now, and that gives a lot of perspective and understanding and the ability to differentiate. That's the most important. Seeing a timeline gives you the ability to differentiate. And then the same happens when you do it on yourself. When you do it on yourself, if needed, you can obviously go through all the past lives, past, present, future. That we discussed even as early as in Sutra 3.16, that's a power that becomes available to a yogi. But what we're saying here is you actually start to see the entire timeline end to end of what is going on. And when you see it in that much depth, you're able to see the point wherein Prakriti and Purusha were separate and where they came together to merge in this illusory format to make us think that it's all one and the same. So this is a very, very important, element to think about, because this is what the Yog Sadhak needs to progress into the Kaivalya path. When he or she now understands experientially as well as intellectually on every level that there's a big difference between Purusha and Prakriti, this is how the timeline looks, this is the differentiation, then he or she can use that knowledge of the understanding of time as a differentiating factor and take that knowledge into the next segment of the sutras to reach Kaivalya path. So this is really, really important to understand over here, and I'm stressing this so much because we usually think, the name, the species, the color, the secondary characteristics, a place. We give these kind of things importance to differentiate two objects. But actually, time itself can help you differentiate between objects, because once you see the timeline of something and then two things in comparison, you can see everything end to end. So now you know for sure how their timelines differ and therefore how they've come to be in this moment, and perhaps even where they're going to be in the next few moments. So this is an incredible possibility that opens up for the Yog Sadhak or the Yog practitioner, and this is what elevates his or her understanding into the Kaivalya Path realm. So this is all that I will say for this particular Sutra 3.53, which is helping us to understand why this time is such an important differentiating factor between Purusha Prakriti or Purusha and the Sattva Chitta complex. So this is it for this particular sutra. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we kind of just tried to give you a gist of it, but of course we cover it in much more detail in our classes, courses and workshops. So if you're interested, please feel free to sign up, the links for which will be in the description. At the same time, if you enjoyed it, give it that big thumbs up, drop your comments in the comment section below, and also don't forget to share this video with your friends and family, especially those who are studying yoga or yoga philosophy. Along with that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because we release new videos every single week and we cannot wait to share more of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras with you. So until then, keep practicing, stay safe, and we can't wait to see you in the next one. Namaste.